So, in case you didn't know, the Duchess of Sussex has a cooking show. Yes, you heard that right. Meghan Markle, the former actress who married Prince Harry in 2018 and, contradictingly, royal hater extraordinaire, has enthralled Netflix yet again to grace us with another one of their unnecessary lifestyle series. With Love Meghan was supposed to air on Netflix on the 15th of January, but due to the tragic Hollywood fires, the show has been pushed back to March, which I believe was a very good and respectful decision. Even if we only have the trailer for now, it has been more than enough to set the tone and the direction of where things are going. And while I did make it till the end of it, I have to specify it was less because of Meghan and more because of the skeleton of the show and how it's so all professionally constructed. What I mean by that is, With Love Meghan is said to be a modern and entertaining media piece. It has great visuals and all these tiny homemaker scenarios. It features esteemed guests and a good healthy premise, and yet it fails to convince many of us to give it a decent shot. The show isn't out yet, but viewers are already demolishing its official trailer, with comments such as the ones I'll leave here, addressing matters along the lines of originality, creativity, and awareness of the broader social and global context. So to the sensible question you're all probably thinking of, will people watch it? I say yes, maybe, but the reasons for that are a bit conflicting. People will most likely tune in for laughs, curiosity, a bit of scandal, but definitely not for the reasons you would watch something similar. However, this video is not about adding extra fuel to the dislike. I prefer to be a bit more practical than that, which is why I plan on pinpointing the reasons why Meghan in a domestic environment just does not add up, and why her show has sparked such visceral reactions online. But to get to those reasons, we'll have to ask ourselves three important questions. First question is, why a cooking show? Isn't it interesting that out of all the directions Meghan could have chosen to expand upon, she decides on a cooking show? Well, there's a reason for that. You see, a cooking show is usually a safe choice, especially for someone in her circumstances who has almost the entire world against her. Cooking shows have captivated audiences for decades. Take a look at MasterChef or The Great British Bake Off. Their popularity can be attributed to several psychological factors that tie into inspiration, personal experiences, and even regarding food as a social act. A cooking show evokes nostalgia and emotional comfort. It's lovely to see a pie baked the way your grandma used to make, for example, or even just watching the process without ever attempting it. There's just something really rewarding about that. Just the idea of it satisfies you in anticipation of what the chef or baker will prepare. Dr. Rachel Hertz, a psychologist and cognitive neuroscientist, explains that watching cooking shows can lead to gustatory mental imagery, where viewers mentally stimulate the taste and smell of the food being prepared. This vicarious experience allows people to enjoy the sensory aspects of cooking without actual consumption. It warms your heart, so perhaps you'll also warm up to the Duchess? Liking a cooking show is one of the most genuine and natural things a person can do, so I suppose this is what Meghan Markle and Netflix counted on when they okayed this fiasco. Which brings us to our second question we have to consider, which is the show original? Not really, nor is it authentic. It follows the same formula of experimenting with food, trying out new things in the kitchen, having guests over to showcase their skills and experiences. But that's hardly the problem. There are hundreds of similar cooking shows out there that follow the same pattern. The problem here, as pointed by the internet, is that Meghan does not even aim to be original, or at least try to bring something truly personal into the show. Everything looks fabricated and carefully set in place. Even the bloopers and funny moments that appear in the trailer, those too look commissioned almost, you know? Since we mentioned the trailer, in it you can identify for yourself moments that remind you of Martha Stewart, Nigella, and many others, thus echoing formats that have been previously explored. With Love Meghan is supposed to bring her closer to the masses, to the general public who currently cares little for her, to win their hearts back and make them feel invited into her home and family. However, as mentioned by many people, the show's portrayal seems to be misleading, as it was filmed in a rented property rather than Markle's actual residence, which ruins the whole fantasy that otherwise would have probably worked. And the last question, which in my opinion is probably the most important, is the show believable? Obviously, you should take every show with a grain of salt, but this question refers to something a bit more meaningful. Nowadays, everyone loves to hate on Meghan, which is not surprising. She has said and done some pretty questionable things. But I believe these comments, these reactions, stem from people not seeing Meghan fulfilling this role organically. Markle's sincerity and the genuineness of her engagement are thoroughly questioned, especially when you hear her mention things like sharing tips and tricks, which in my personal view can only be shared mainly by people who usually spend a lot of their time cooking and entertaining regularly, and not just delegating their wants to hired staff or letting the cook know what to prepare for your event. Because we all know she doesn't do those things. Not really. To be more specific, people trust Martha Stewart because her entire life has been dedicated to crafting beauty and elegance in everyday living. They connect with Selena Gomez even, as a point of reference, because she started from scratch in the kitchen, embracing vulnerability and an overt willingness to learn. In contrast, Meghan Markle faces skepticism because her authenticity in this venture lacks a foundation or a history that aligns with this new role. In the end, I will say that just because everyone loves a cooking show, that does not necessarily mean that everyone will love a cooking show with Meghan Markle in it. This is not the foolproof recipe for success. See what I did there? Whoever advised her to make this show probably meant well, but they clearly failed to understand her intended audience, who has been betrayed by her in the past and has seen sides of her that contradict themselves. For this type of show places her again in a position of dislike. She is low-key superior, she instructs, she entertains, she shows off her glamorous life, whereas people would have probably preferred to see her in something closer to the truth, less fabricated and more emotionally raw. Not from the position of a celebrity, not a victim, but, the genuine Meghan Markle, who I'm sure makes a lot of people happy in her daily life. Instead, I might have curated or designed a show that perhaps delves into the charity and humanitarian work of the royal family, for example. She wouldn't even need to appear in it too much. Her presence wouldn't be necessary because the focus would be entirely on the message and purpose the show aims to convey. This would have been a better direction, with higher chances of convincing people that she's authentic and truly ready to serve, without being in the spotlight herself. But that's just my opinion, and I would love to read yours. Will you watch her cooking show? Yes, no, and why? List your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to read them. Thank you for today. Like this video and maybe subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more from me. And until next time, please take care of yourselves. Bye!